Hello, Boston. Welcome to another edition of Game of the Week. We are down to our final 2021 Boston City League basketball game of the season. It's the Boys City Championship between the New Mission Titans and the Latin Academy Dragons. Just before we get going here, I just want to say thank you to the Boston Public Schools Athletic Department, BPS facilities, the schools themselves, the teams and the players, and of course the coaches as well. Everybody's done a fantastic job getting through this pandemic-shortened season. They've done a fantastic job all the way across the board, and I just want to thank everybody for all the work that they're doing, and everybody who's working on this Game of the Week production. Not what we normally do. We usually bring a truck out to games. This is more of a remote production. We're a little bit limited, but the folks who are working for us on these games are doing a fantastic job, putting in a lot of work to get these games to you. But of course, we got a big game today as two teams who are hungry for a Boston City championship. First, we're going to start with the New Mission Titans. They haven't won a city title since 2016. They also, I don't believe, have been back to the city championship since 2016, and have only really had one, I believe, city playoff appearance since then. So New Mission is hungry for a city title. Malcolm Smith, the head coach of the New Mission Titans, has not won a city title as head coach of the New Mission Titans either, so you know he's chomping at the bit to get that city crown. New Mission has a couple of different guys this year that are getting the work done, but the guy that we've seen for the last few seasons, really a very steady scorer and presence out on the floor, is Juan Salas. Juan did not have a huge scoring night last night in the city semifinals against Tech Boston. Did have 13 points and 8 rebounds and was more of a playmaker for New Mission. But the guy that stepped up was sophomore Hassan Jenkins. Now, Hassan's normally more of a wing, but he played more of a post position last night for New Mission, was able to carve out space to get 24 points and 9 rebounds for the Titans, and he was one of the biggest contributing factors to New Mission's win over Tech Boston in the semifinals. Along with that, you have Kamar Morgan, who was kind of all over the floor for New Mission. Points, rebounds, blocks, assists, got a lot done for the Titans last night. So those are the guys that we want to be taking a look at again today in the city championship. Now, before we talk about Latin Academy, let's take a look at the city playoff picture before we start the city championship game. And talking about the city league playoffs, there you see the boys bracket as Charlestown was able to defeat Burke at home, and then they took on Latin Academy last night, lost to Latin Academy. Meanwhile, Tech Boston defeated Brighton at home, and then was able to, or lost actually last night to New Mission at New Mission High School. So Latin Academy and New Mission, the two top seeds in the City League playoffs this season, meet in the City League championship game. It's actually hosted at Latin Academy today. They were the top seed overall. That's why it's essentially a home game for them. So now the Latin Academy Dragons. We saw them a season ago really have a great year. I mean, they were one of the top teams in the league. We saw it coming. They had a lot of players who, over their freshman and sophomore seasons, had gotten a lot of playing time, and all those players kind of grew up together, and last year were really juniors and sophomores, and they had a very good senior in Nemo Stuppert as well, and we saw them get to the city championship game. They then lost to Tech Boston, who had a few more seniors with a lot of city playoff experience, so you could tell that Latin Academy was getting there. They just weren't quite at the mountaintop. They then had a really nice state tournament run where they lost in the sectional quarterfinals, or sectional semifinals, rather, I should say, last season. They won, I think, 3 games to get there. So a really nice season a year ago for Latin Academy, one of their best seasons in a long time. This year was going to be the year. And then, of course, the pandemic, the shortened season, a little bit different this year. No state tournament for Latin Academy, but they've gone undefeated in this condensed regular season, and they are now the top team in the City League, and they are hosting the City Championship tonight, taking on New Mission. There you see the New Mission Titans in the all-navy uniforms with the gold trim, Latin Academy in their normal yellow uniforms with the black trim, and we are underway at Latin Academy High School. New Mission controlling the opening tap. There's Juan Salas, top of the key, looking to get things going for the Titans. You mentioned Hassan Jenkins. You saw him down low as they were looking to feed him inside. New Mission's probably going to try to pound the ball inside a little bit more. Latin Academy has height, but they don't have a ton of girth inside. Asasu Wogaran, their center, more of a long, athletic center than pounding center inside. Zacy Osasu with the ball right there. Loses it on the way up. Juan Salas with the steal for New Mission. Quickly up the floor he goes. That ball knocked out of bounds as Shamari Peterson was trying to get to the rim. the ball inside, knocked away and stolen away by Osasu Bulgarian. Abdullahi Aiden, one of the top scorers in the City League. Don't give him an open look. Deep three from Aiden, buries it for Latin Academy. The long-range shooter, Abdullahi Aiden, he actually came off the bench last year for most of the season because when he did do that, he gave a massive scoring lift to this Latin Academy team and then would usually finish games with the starters. We saw Peterson trapped in the corner. That's a 5-second violation on Shamari Peterson, so that'll go back to Latin Academy. And Osasu Bulgarian, the big center, shuffled his feet in the corner. So that'll go back to the New Mission Titans. And it's going to be a carry on New Mission. Sometimes in these city championship games, the two teams got to shake the cobwebs off. These two teams did not have a quarterfinals game. As I mentioned, they were the two top seeds, so they got a bye in the first round. Aiden, corner three. That one well off the mark. Shapiro couldn't corral the rebound, so that's going to go back to New Mission. Nice feed inside from Alan Paisley, and Jenkins is going to head to the charity stripe. Mentioned Hassan Jenkins, 24 points and 9 rebounds last night against Tech Boston. He knocks down the first. Two for two from the line is Jenkins. New Mission now within one. Mason Lawson for a three off the back iron that time. Jenkins going after the loose ball. Benny Martinez inside to Shapiro. Stolen away by Martinez. Trying to get it out to Tiano Santos, and then it's saved, and now we have a foul on the floor. That foul is going to be on Juan Salas. Benny Martinez, corner three, and Juan Salas comes away with the rebound. Salas, nice little inside-out move, and somehow got that one to go. Fantasy finish from Juan Salas and cuts the Latin Academy lead down to 1. Shapiro gets rejected inside by Jenkins. Back down the other end go the Titans. Salas gets bumped on the floor. That'll be a side out of bounds for New Mission. That was Alan Paisley. The fouled from the elbow, so Jahid Allen Paisley will now get 2 free throws. He knocks down the first. Paisley 2 for 2 from the stripe. New Mission with a 1-point lead here midway through the first quarter. Nice set play for Latin Academy. Aiden corner 3 short with that one. Benny Martinez with the rebound. Inside to Wolgarin, and Osasu hits the floater. Poked away inside by Lawson. Mason Lawson picks it up for Latin Academy. Lawson with a 3-on-2. Now we're going to pull it back out for the Dragons. Wolgarin off the up fake. Hits another one inside for Osasu. That's his 4th point here in the first quarter, rather. Salas couldn't hit that one underneath. Put back is good, and the foul for Juan Salas. The senior from New Mission getting to work underneath, got the offensive putback and one. He'll try to make this a 3-point play. Still a 1-point lead here for Latin Academy late in the first quarter. Aiden off the up fake, and he's rejected inside by Jenkins. Rebound comes down to Morgan. Salas working on Benny Martinez off the screen. Jenkins, nice feed inside to Morgan for 2. Back and forth we go here at Latin Academy. 2021 Boys Boston City Championship. Muhammad Ali couldn't hit that one off the window. Rebound comes down to New Mission. Here comes Peterson. Jenkins with a strong move, rejected inside by Wolgarin. Jenkins gets that one to go for New Mission. Mason Lawson. Aiden steps into a 2. He's short with that one. Wolgarin with the putback. Osasu Wolgarin now with 6 points to lead Latin Academy. Nice drive inside there for New Mission, but Peterson was unable to hit, but he is fouled underneath. So Peterson will now head to the charity stripe. Shamari unable to hit the first. Substitution. As Muhammad Ali heads to the bench for Latin Academy. One for 2 from the free throw line is Shamari Peterson. Two-point lead for New Mission here late in the first quarter. Ball poked away that time by Morgan. That's going to be a traveling violation on Jahid Allen Paisley. Feed it inside to Shapiro, the big fella. Can't finish over the top. Rebound comes down to Morgan. I'm sorry, that's Omekin Wakoji with the rebound for New Mission. Ball tapped around. Tiano Santos comes away with it. Benny Martinez able to hang on. Nice feed inside to Shapiro. And Shapiro traveled before he could get a shot up. Salas, offensive rebound, put back, no good. Shapiro with the rebound, and Salas' whistle for the foul. Couple seconds left as Aiden fires up a three, can't get it to go. And that ball goes out of bounds, and after one at Latin Academy High School, it's the New Mission Titans 13 and Latin Academy 11 after the first quarter of the 2021 Boys Boston City Championship. Really good back and forth action between both these teams, as we mentioned before how both teams are pretty deep. Latin Academy's been deep for a couple of years. New Mission had a lot of guys contribute last night. New Mission wants to go inside more. We saw that with Jenkins, trying to carve out space inside the paint, and also Juan Salas driving to the basket several times in that first quarter. Meanwhile, for Latin Academy, they kind of can do a little bit of everything, but they really have some shooters like Abdullahi Aiden and also Muhammad Ali who can knock it down from behind the arc. Aiden hit 1 3, but missed probably 3 or 4 more, so Latin Academy will expect to probably knock down a few more shots from the perimeter in the second quarter. But New Mission did a great job defensively, especially creating turnovers, causing havoc, trying to get out on the fast break. That's where they were successful there in the first quarter. Always a good defensive team is New Mission, especially when coached by Malcolm Smith. Malcolm Smith has never won a city championship as a head coach for New Mission, but he has won a city championship as the head coach of East Boston, so no stranger to winning a city title. Good swing of the basketball that time as Aiden, off the up fake, tries a runner. Short with that. Got his own offensive rebound. They couldn't hang on to it. That's going to go back to New Mission. Out to Tiano Santos, who gets fouled on his way to the basket after the turnover. So Santos will be shooting 2. Santos could not hit the first. No good on the second either. Still a 2-point lead for New Mission. Nice drive this time for New Mission as Hassan Jenkins scores off the window. Another turnover that time by Latin Academy. Here comes New Mission once again in transition off the up fake. Try to feed it inside, and Abdullahi Aiden comes away with the steal. Three-second violation, it looks like, on Ben Shapiro. Solid drive that time. Pass goes out of bounds as Peterson fired it to the corner there. He was looking for his teammate. Looks like there's now a discussion happening over at the scorer's table. I think we got a technical foul as Abdullahi Aiden knocks down the first. Not sure if that was because of a player or because of somebody from the New Mission coaching staff, but 1 for 2 from the free throw line is Aiden. Latin Academy will get the ball back. Benny Martinez pulls up for 2, buries it. Cuts the lead down to 1 here early in the second quarter. Onyeka Nwakoji back up top. Now it's a 3-ball on the way, but off the mark that time for New Mission. Martinez trying for the fancy finish. He gets stuffed inside. That's going to be a jump ball. It'll be side out for New Mission. Peterson on the drive, gets caught underneath the backboard that time. Mason Lawson. Lawson fires a 3 and rattles it home. Mason Lawson with his first field goal. Puts Latin Academy up by 2, and Coach Smith wants a timeout for New Mission as the Dragons went on a quick run there to get back into it. Now with a 2-point lead for Latin Academy. And folks, we're bringing this game to you from Latin Academy High School in Dorchester. As we mentioned before, Latin Academy top seed this year in the boys Boston City League. And folks, if you want to follow us on social media, you can first go to our Facebook page. We got a lot of good stuff up on Facebook. It's our links to our YouTube videos and YouTube streams of all these games. You can watch them after the fact. Also, if you're looking to tune in, you can go to our Facebook page and find that link there. You can also check out some of the other stuff we post on Facebook. A lot of good information there about what games we're covering and what BPS Athletics is doing throughout the season. You can also go to our website, www.boston.gov/cable. You scroll to the bottom of the page, click on Game of the Week. That'll route you to our video library. You can check out all the games we've covered over the years, including games we've covered this season. And finally, you can follow us on Twitter at Boston City TV. And if you want to tweet at us, use the hashtag BostonGOW. It's coming out of the timeout. New Mission trails by 2 here midway through the second quarter. Neither team particularly lighting it up from the three-point land. Latin Academy normally a good three-point shooting team. Of course, they're also at their home gym. You can expect they'll shoot a little bit better throughout the game. Looks like we got a traveling violation that time on Hassan Jenkins. The Mission has been more aggressive defensively, creating a lot of turnovers here in the first half. Mason Lawson shuffled his feet off the up fake there. Ball gets knocked loose inside the paint. We get a jump ball that I believe goes back to Latin Academy. Aiden back to Santos. Benny Martinez, corner three, off the back rim. Here comes Numission back down the other end. Peterson all the way to the bucket for two. Shamari Peterson with a great drive. We're tied up at 17. Martinez immediately surrounded inside the paint. Martinez fires another three, again off the back rim. Shapiro taps it back out. Aiden now with an open look. He can't get the three to go down. Jenkins thought about a three. Corner three now is buried that time for Numission. I think that was Peterson connecting from long distance. So Numission now with a three-point lead. That goes off of Benny Martinez, and it'll go back to Numission. You see Numission swallowing defense there, making things very difficult for Latin Academy. Mason Lawson creates a turnover there for the Dragons. Inside to Shapiro, tries to carve out space and scores off the window. Cuts it down to a one-point lead. They just called an offensive foul on Hassan Jenkins. Malcolm Smith not happy with that call. Benny Martinez hits the mid-range jumper. Latin Academy regains the lead here midway through the second quarter. Ooh, almost a steal there by Benny Martinez. And Numission airmails a pass out of bounds. That'll go back to Latin Academy. So Latin Academy now turning up the pressure defensively on Numission. Aiden, corner three. Way off that time for Abdullahi Aiden. And I believe that was a foul on Ben Shapiro over the back call. Feed it inside to Jenkins, kick it back out to Salas. Juan Salas for three around the rim and out. Offensive rebound inside. As that one was on, or that was Kamar Morgan who got the offensive rebound. He's now going to get a couple of free throws as he was fouled on the putback. Morgan hits the first. Morgan 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Now New Mission with a 1-point lead. Lawson skips it over to Martinez. Benny Martinez going baseline. He stepped out of bounds. So to go back to the Titans. Another turnover that time by New Mission. Here comes Mason Lawson, lays it down to Aiden, and Lawson was fouled on the floor, so I think this is going to be possibly a 1-and-1 for Mason Lawson. Lawson hits the first. Lawson 2 for 2 from the stripe. Latin Academy with a 1-point lead now. Dragons putting on the defensive pressure. Aiden lays it down to Benny Martinez. They're going to call a blocking foul on Jahid Allen Paisley. So Aiden and Nelby at the free throw line to shoot 1-and-1. Aiden hits the first. Unable to hit the second. Shapiro going after the rebound. Benny Martinez couldn't come up with it for Latin Academy. That's going to stay with the Dragons. I thought that was off of Ben Shapiro, but referee certainly has a better vantage point than I do. Said it was off of New Mission. Aiden was looking for Martinez up top, threw it a little too high. That'll go back to the Titans. Three ball on the way for New Mission, but it was blocked from the corner. Lawson quickly up the floor to Martinez. Benny can't hit the layup. And it was knocked out of bounds by New Mission. Three-second violation on Ben Shapiro once again, so that'll be another turnover for Latin Academy. Martinez trying to poke it away that time. And that'll stay with New Mission. And that is going to do it for the first half at Latin Academy High School of the 2021 Boys Boston City Championship. Latin Academy leads New Mission 24-22. Really nice first half between both teams. Leads changed back and forth. Both these teams defensively did a good job creating turnovers, creating havoc, especially in the backcourt. We saw that from both New Mission especially, but also Latin Academy did that really late in the second quarter. A lot of good players that were able to contribute there in the first half. We got some halftime stats for you. Juan Salas with 4 points and 3 rebounds for New Mission. Hassan Jenkins, 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 blocks, and a steal. So he filled up the stat sheet all over the place. Morgan, 4 points, 3 rebounds, and a block. Peterson had a nice first half, 6 points and 3 rebounds. Shahid Allen Paisley with 2 points and a rebound. Meanwhile, for Latin Academy, Abdullahi Aiden with the 5 points and a rebound. Osasu Wogarin, 6 points, 2 rebounds, a steal, and a block. He got in foul trouble, though, I believe, so that second quarter didn't really play as much as he did in the first. Ben Shapiro, 4 points, 1 rebound, 1 block. Benny Martinez, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He was all over the floor. Mason Lawson, 5 points, 2 assists, and 2 steals. So both teams had some struggles offensively, turning the ball over. You know, neither team's really lit it up from behind the arc, as we mentioned, or even from the perimeter that much. You saw Mason Lawson and Abdullahi Aiden each have threes in that first half for Latin Academy. You also saw Shamari Peterson knock down a corner 3 for New Mission. That's the only three-point shot New Mission has made so far in this game, too. So, like I mentioned, Latin Academy likes to shoot threes. They're going to probably shoot a lot more. They'll probably expect to make more in the second half. They actually missed 15 straight threes in the city semifinals against Charlestown before Aiden, I believe, was the first one to knock one down for the Dragons. You saw New Mission and how aggressive they are inside. That's their game. They want to go to the basket. They want to get a guy like Hassan Jenkins going underneath. Juan Salas can get to the rim as well. He can finish around the rim. We saw that a little bit in the first half. We also saw Kamar Morgan, who was kind of all over the floor. You know, he had a nice city semifinals game against Tech Boston last night, where he did a little bit of everything for this New Mission team. You're seeing him do that again. And then Hassan Jenkins didn't really get going there in the first half, especially offensively. I think they're going to try to feed it into him a little bit more in the second half as well. He's not really a post player. I know we see him a lot on the post because he's out of necessity because they don't have a ton of height on this New Mission team, but he's got the strength and a little bit of size to try to post up inside, and we'll probably see him on the block a little bit more and maybe get the ball a little bit more down low. For Latin Academy, they got to hang on to the ball. They've had a couple of 3-second violations. They've stepped out of bounds a few times. They are on their home floor, so you expect them to not sort of make those mistakes because they should know where they are out in the game during the game because of the familiarity of them in the gym. So that's a little bit surprising. We'll see if they can adjust that at halftime and then see if they can come out in the second half and perform a little bit better offensively and a little bit more efficiently. New Mission, I think this is the kind of game New Mission wants. I know they're down 2, but they really like to create turnovers. They really like to muck it up a little bit. So they're going to start off this third quarter with the basketball, down by 2, but this is the style of game that they like to play. You see Morgan trying for the 3, unable to hit. The rebound comes down to Abdullahi Aiden. Aiden off the up fake. Deep 3 for Aiden off the front rim. Tough rebound inside that time for Kamar Morgan. Salas kicks it to the corner. 3 ball. Short that time. Offensive rebound and put back no good for Morgan. Wogarin comes away with the rebound. We got a foul inside on New Mission. I think that might have been on Peterson. Neither team got in the bonus in the, Latin Academy was shooting 1-1 towards the end of the first half, but not a ton of team fouls for either squad. I don't believe anybody's in serious foul trouble just yet. Lawson trying to feed it inside to Wogarin, but Osasu couldn't corral it. Stolen away that time by Latin Academy. Here comes Lawson. Good swing of the basketball. Corner three for Muhammad Ali, connecting from long distance. He didn't score at all in the first half. He's probably one of their best offensive players. As speaking of good offensive players, Juan Salas goes right down the middle of the lane for two. Five seconds left on the shot clock. Mason Lawson's got to do something with it. Well, Guerin tosses it up off the backboard, or off the front rim, rather. Wide open three, and that one's short for Hassan Jenkins. Santos, deep three. Doesn't fall for him. That's going to go back to New Mission. I believe it's New Mission who calls the timeout here early in the third quarter. As the Titans trail by 3. Latin Academy's had some good open looks from 3. Muhammad Ali finally knocking one down for the Dragons. He, as I mentioned, did not score in the first half. Muhammad's probably their best overall scorer on Latin Academy. Can get it done inside, putbacks, good rebounder, but also can hit it from behind the arc. Abdullahi Aiden, probably their best three-point shooter. So Ali getting into the mix now for Latin Academy. Meanwhile, for New Mission, you saw Hassan Jenkins fire up a three, a little different. We didn't see him shoot a ton of threes yesterday against Tech Boston. Salas trying to score inside, gets that one to go. Fancy finish again for Juan Salas. Very crafty around the basket. Was able to drop that one in. Cuts the lead back down to 1 here in the third quarter. Benny Martinez short on that three. Will Guerin there for the putback. Big fella now with 8 points for Latin Academy. Salas for 3. Lawson with the rebound. Lawson with a full head of steam. Stops, pops, couldn't hit it. Tough rebound inside that time for Peterson. Jenkins almost gets it stolen away by Tiano Santos, but it's going to stay with the New Mission Titans. Jenkins muscles one inside that time for New Mission. Jenkins now with 8 points to lead. Him and Juan Salas lead New Mission so far in scoring. Santos inside, gets rejected. Well, Guerin can't get the putback. I believe that was a traveling violation on New Mission. Peterson had a scramble to corral the basketball, but then I think he took an extra step when he went to pass the ball. Had already established his pivot foot and then took an extra step. Mason Lawson can't score over the top. Ball goes off of Benny Martinez, so that'll go back to New Mission. Lawson looked like he sort of faded away from the basket when going towards the rim. Not sure if he was looking for contact around the bucket. Mason usually a very good driver of the basketball. Got to say, it is very strange being at Latin Academy and the gym being almost empty, especially in those stands. We covered a lot of games at Latin Academy. There you see a travel on Juan Salas. We covered a lot of games at Latin Academy last year, including several state tournament games, and the gym was packed. You saw people getting a little close to the wall, filling up the bleachers. Fire marshal probably wasn't too happy with the amount of people that were in there, but it is a little strange to not see a lot of people at Latin Academy's gym, but we're hoping that's going to change next season. Morgan off the steal inside. Can't finish the layup. Aiden with the rebound. Kicks it out quickly to Mason Lawson. Lawson all the way to the bucket. Couldn't squeeze it home. Morgan quickly out. Ball was knocked away by Abdullahi Aiden, but he bumped into Juan Salas, so that's going to be a foul on Aiden. We're also at New Mission's gym last night for the Boys City semifinals. It's strange to see not a lot of fans at that gym either. You know, New Mission has been so successful over the past few seasons. Their gym's always packed and loud. As we mentioned at the Open, great job by Boston Public Schools, Boston Public School Athletic Department. Of course, the coaches, players, the schools, facilities, the operations managers for BPS doing a great job getting this season in. Feed it inside to Morgan. He tries to score over the top, can't get it to go. Sorry, that was Jenkins who tried to score over the top. It's Morgan with the putback. He's going to get the foul as well, so he'll go to the three-point line, or to the free throw line to complete a three-point play. Cannot hit the free throw, chases after his own rebound. Salas goes all the way in, gets it swatted out of bounds by Muhammad Ali. Ali going to head to the bench. Tiano Santos back in for Latin Academy. Mason Lawson whistled for the foul right around the elbow, so that'll stay with New Mission. Foul's starting to pile up now for Latin Academy. Feed inside to Jenkins. Big fella muscles his way in. Martinez stops. Pops can't hit the jumper. Rebound. And Juan Salas, I believe, was stepping out of bounds. Either that or he traveled back in that corner there, so that'll go back to Latin Academy. Aiden for three. Can't get that one to go. Morgan comes away with a rebound for New Mission. That's going to be a 5-second violation that time on Juan Salas, so that'll go back to Latin Academy. Three-point lead for the New Mission Titans here in the third quarter. With about 1:10 left to go in the third here at the Boys Boston City Championship. Nice feed inside a Solace rejection from Mulgaren, but it's Jenkins with the putback for New Mission. He extends New Mission's lead to 5. Latin Academy calls a timeout here late in the third quarter. I think Coach Bunker's looking to make sure that New Mission doesn't go on a run here at the end of the quarter and make it possibly a double-digit deficit going into the fourth. Latin Academy has not been able to consistently knock down shots from the perimeter like we've seen in the past from them. And New Mission's defense has been very good here throughout the first 3 quarters. Meanwhile, for New Mission, creating turnovers, getting out on the break. We've been saying it all game long, but that's what they've been doing. I mean, they have a lot of players who are able to finish inside with Jenkins, Morgan, Juan Salas. Shamari Peterson's had a couple of baskets. They have some guys who can finish around the rim, and that's been the difference so far in this one. You see Coach Dan Bunker drawing something up on the grease board for Latin Academy. Dan was actually a player for Latin Academy back in 1997, 1998 when they were in the City League playoffs. Latin Academy hasn't won the city championship since 1993. So you know they are itching for a championship here at Latin Academy High School. As we mentioned, they were in the city championship last season. Weren't able to defeat Tech Boston in the city championship. Mason Lawson going to work as they kick it back outside, and we'll see if they call that a shooting foul. He was up in the air, but he's trying to pass the ball on the perimeter, so I think that should be on the floor. Yes, it's going to be a side out of bounds. Under a minute to go here in the third quarter. New Mission with a 5-point lead over Latin Academy. Santos deep three, and he buries it for the Dragons. Cuts the lead back down to 2 here late in the third. We'll see what New Mission can do in the closing seconds of the third quarter. Jaheed Allen Paisley. Now it's Santos going to work. Allen Paisley hesitation. Kicks it to the quarter. Shot no good. Morgan with the offensive rebound, but it's stolen away there by Tiano Santos. And Latin Academy didn't have time to get a shot off there at the end of the quarter. So after 3, it's New Mission 34, Latin Academy 32. We're heading for what's cooking up to be a great fourth quarter here in the 2021 Boys Boston City Championship. We'll see who can prevail. New Mission, it seems like, has gotten the game where they want it. You know, a lot of turnovers, a lot of defensive pressure, especially when they're on defense. They've created a lot of opportunities for themselves underneath the basket. They go after loose balls. They go after the offensive glass, typical Malcolm Smith coach team, constantly running around, playing hard. You know, Kamar Morgan, we mentioned that he wasn't the top scorer in the city semifinals, but he has been all over the place, especially there in the third quarter. 2.6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal just in the third quarter alone for Kamar Morgan. So really making a difference out there for New Mission. He also had a block in that third quarter as well. So we'll see what happens here in the fourth quarter as both these teams have been trading the lead back and forth. Then it was New Mission really late in that third quarter who sort of got it out to 5, and I think that's the biggest lead of the game so far is 5 points. So it's been that tight, that close here, and we wouldn't expect anything else from the Boston City Championship between these two starving programs, both teams wanting a win in the City League Championship. It's been a long time since somebody other than Tech Boston has won the city title. 2017, Brighton won it on the boys' side. Then for 3 straight years, it was Tech Boston winning the city championship. So a new city champion will be crowned for the first time in a few years here on the boys' side of the Boston City League. As I mentioned, New Mission last won the city championship back in 2016. They actually went on to win the state Division II state championship as well. So we have that court violation Anosasu Wogarin. Mason Lawson going after the loose ball. Finds Santos. Santos now on the floor. And Latin Academy calls a timeout. Malcolm Smith saying they didn't have possession of the ball once they called timeout, as the ball was still getting knocked around on the floor. It certainly was close, but Latin Academy granted the timeout, so they will hang on to possession here early in the third quarter. This could be, these next couple of minutes could be at a point where, depending on which team is able to maybe go on a mini run here and try to get some momentum, they could really swing this game a little bit in these first couple of minutes of the fourth. Coming out of the timeout, see what Latin Academy is able to execute. Lawson looking for an opening inside to Wogarin. Osasu off the spin move, gets it to go. Wogarin now with 10 points for Latin Academy. Tied up at 34 here early in the fourth quarter. And Peterson's going to be called for taking extra steps that time. He's looking to take off and split the defense there, so I'll go back to Latin Academy. Aiden all the way to the bucket for two. Abdullahi Aiden scores off the window, gives Latin Academy a 2-point lead. Morgan inside, blocked by Wogarin. Morgan trying to carve out space again. This time Wogarin's going to be whistled for the foul. Not sure how many fouls Osasu Wogarin has now. He's got, I would imagine he's got at least 3. Morgan cannot, does hit the first, excuse me. Two for two from the free throw line is Kamar Morgan. Back to a 36-all tie here at the Boston City Championship. Drive to the bucket, shot no good that time. Benny Martinez comes away with it. Can't kiss it off the glass, and the rebound comes down to Jenkins. Wide open corner three for Paisley, couldn't get it to go. Martinez throws it off of Jenkins, let it go back to Latin Academy. That was Jerry Howland who just walked by the camera there. He's the interim headmaster right now at Latin Academy. He might be the full-time headmaster. I'm going to have to ask him. Tiano Santos on the drive there for the Dragons as he puts Latin Academy back up by 2. Trying to feed Jenkins inside, and it's Aiden who comes away with the loose ball. Quickly up to Benny Martinez. Back to Santos in the corner. Tiano for 3. Can't get it to go. Shapiro, rebound, rejected by Morgan inside. Here comes Rasan Jenkins. He gets it stolen away by Mason Lawson. Lawson all the way to the bucket. Scores inside for the Dragons. Mason Lawson's steal and basket puts Latin Academy up by 4 here midway through the fourth quarter. Now you're seeing Latin Academy sort of give New Mission a little taste of their own medicine. A lot of ball pressure at the top of the key there, creating a couple of turnovers, resulting in some easy baskets for Latin Academy. But you see New Mission, even if they're trailing or trailing the fast break and they have to catch up inside there, they're going to continue to fight for rebounds and fight for loose balls. New Mission does not give up in those areas at all. They always seem to get those 50-50 balls inside. But we'll see what the Titans can try to do offensively here. Lately, every time they've tried to go down low, it's New Mission slapping the ball away. It's been on putbacks and hustle plays, as I mentioned, that New Mission has been able to convert those types of plays into points. So coming out of the timeout, New Mission with the basketball down by 4. .5:15 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Juan Salas for 3. Can't get that one to go. That goes out of bounds off of Santos, so that'll stay with the New Mission Titans. Morgan throws it off of Latin Academy in the corner there. Malcolm Smith, I think he's looking for a foul there in the corner. Both teams clearly very physical on both ends of the floor. Good hard basketball out there here in the Boston City Championship. Jenkins. Jenkins for 3, can't get that to go. Rebound by Morgan, back to Jenkins for 2 inside. There you see Kamar Morgan again with the hustle plays. And a nice feed inside of Jenkins. I'm going to call a 5-second violation on Mason Lawson. Surprised. He started going towards the rim. I'm surprised they called the 5-second violation that time. Corner 3 for Salas, and Juan just has not been able to hit anything down from the perimeter. Usually not the case for him as Ben Shapiro commits the reach-in foul. So Hassan Jenkins now heading to the free throw line. Knocks down the first. Not sure if that's Ben Shapiro's 5th foul. He looked like he was trying to figure out if it was. But he will definitely come out. Asasu Wogarin back in there for Latin Academy. Jenkins 2 for 2 from the free throw line. So once again, Hassan putting up some points here for New Mission. I believe he's got 15 points now for the Titans. Mason Lawson from the corner, well off the mark that time. Salas comes away with a rebound. Looking to break the tie once again. Feed it inside to Morgan. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a Mekan Wakoji who got the ball on the block. So Anya Mekan Wakoji will now get 2 free throws for New Mission. Anya cannot hit the first. Mekan Wakaji rattles home the second. Gives New Mission a 1-point lead. Santos on the drive, gets tied up underneath. Foul's on the floor, so that'll stay with Latin Academy. Backdoor pass there to Mason Lawson, and it looked like Jahid Allen Paisley committed the foul underneath. Mason Lawson hits the first. Lawson 2 for 2 from the stripe. And Salas almost got it stolen away as Aiden knocks it out of bounds. Here comes Lawson out on the break. Got fouled on his way to the rim, so he's going to get 2 more free throws. Lawson hits the first. Lawson now with 10 points for Latin Academy. Lawson misses the second. So 2-point lead here for the Dragons. And New Mission wants a timeout here late in the fourth quarter. Latin Academy with a 2-point lead over New Mission. This is going to be a tight one down the stretch. This is going to be a dogfight. These two teams want this city championship badly. As we've talked about for the entire season, there's no state tournament this year for the Boston City League team. So this is the be-all, end-all. This is the one and done. This is the last game of the season for Boston Public High School basketball. And Latin Academy leads New Mission by 2. As we mentioned, Latin Academy hasn't won the city championship since 1993. Meanwhile, New Mission, as you see on the screen here, they have won the city championship recently, but it was back in 2016. Corey McCarthy was still the head coach back then, and now it's Malcolm Smith, who's been there a couple of seasons now. I think it's his 3rd year, maybe even his 4th year now, if I'm not mistaken, at New Mission High School. You know he wants a city championship now as the head coach of the New Mission Titans. At least one, if not more, at East Boston. We got about 2:43 left to go in this game. Latin Academy up by 2. New Mission with the basketball. I have a feeling these teams are going to be trading baskets the rest of the way. or trading defensive stops, because these two teams have played excellent defense so far in this one. Open three for Emeka Nwakoji, and he can't get it to go. Gets his own offensive rebound, and Anyi is fouled on the floor by Abdullahi Aden. Emeka Nwakoji knocks down the first. Could not get the second. You see Morgan getting in there for the offensive rebound inside to Salas. Salas lost it on the way up. And I believe that's going to be a moving screen. Or was it a travel? Couldn't quite see what the call was. Morgan on the drive, couldn't finish off the window. Now we have an over-the-back call on Numission. I think that was Robert Bryant who went over the back that time for the Titans. Still a 1-point lead for Latin Academy. About 2 minutes left to go here in the fourth quarter. Shamari Peterson has been all over Mason Lawson today. Lawson's got 10 points. As always, Lawson very tough to guard. I think Peterson just might have got shaken up a little bit there. I think Lawson was fouled, so he's going to be shooting a 1-on-1. Lawson no good on the first, so Morgan comes away with the rebound. So now Numission calls timeout here late in the fourth quarter. Titans still trailing by 1. As we mentioned before, both these teams really looking to capture a city championship tonight. It's been more than 3 years since someone other than Tech Boston has won the city championship on the boys' side of the basketball. So it could be Numission tonight. They haven't won since 2016. Could be Latin Academy tonight. They haven't won since 1993. I mentioned Dan Bunker earlier, who's the head coach for the Latin Academy Dragons. He actually played at Latin Academy High School, played in the city championship in 97 and 98, and just mentioned how heartbreaking it was to lose the city championship back then. And even before his time at Latin Academy, the Dragons have not won the city championship. So we'll see if Latin Academy can pull it out tonight, or will Numission capture another city championship. First one under Malcolm Smith. Going to be an entertaining end to this game. Inside to Jenkins. Blocked inside by Wogarin. He comes away with a loose ball. And Latin Academy calls a timeout after that possession. So the Dragons will now huddle up to try to figure out what they want to do offensively. As we mentioned last year, Latin Academy was in the city championship. and lost to Tech Boston by double digits. They had a tough time trying to get by the Bears. The Tech Boston and Latin Academy actually played 3 times last season. The 2 regular season games were unbelievable. We actually covered the regular season game at Latin Academy. Mason Lawson hit a 3 at the end of the 4th quarter to put the game into overtime, and Latin Academy ended up winning it against Tech Boston. But so the Dragons have been to the city championship before, including last season. They just haven't won it since '93. 1:25 left to go in regulation. Latin Academy with a 1-point lead over New Mission here in the 2021 Boston City Championship. Well, Guerin couldn't hit the jumper that time. Rebound comes down to Juan Salas. Salas looking for an opening, kicks it to the quarter. Mekanwakeji now back up top to Salas. Salas will reset as he tries to go to work on Benny Martinez. Peterson on his way to the basket. He gets fouled by Osasu Wilgarin. Shapiro going to come back in for Latin Academy. That might be Wilgarin's 5th. First free throw is made there by Shamari Peterson. Peterson now with a chance to take the lead with this second free throw. Peterson's able to knock it down, so New Mission now with a 1-point lead. 25 seconds left to go. Latin Academy going to try to probably hold for the final shot. We'll see what kind of run play they are able to run here. Lawson inside. He gets fouled on the floor. And I think they're going to call that, yep, a foul on the floor. And now they count the bucket. They call that a continuation play as Mason Lawson was able to hit the shot going to the basket. So now Latin Academy takes a 1-point lead, and Lawson will now be shooting 1 to try to complete a 3-point play. So it's a 45-44 lead here for Latin Academy. Lawson looking to make it a 2-point lead for the Dragons. And he does. So Mason Lawson puts Latin Academy up by 2 here late in the 4th quarter. Not sure exactly how many seconds are left. The Mission's going to have to figure something out here. I'm not sure how many timeouts they have left either. Nice drive to the basket that time. Block inside by Latin Academy. Mason Lawson then gets fouled. Can't tell if Latin Academy called the timeout or if there was a foul on New Mission. Looked like Latin Academy did get the timeout there. So Latin Academy with a 2-point lead here in the waning seconds of the 4th quarter of the 2021 Boston City Championship over New Mission. However much time is left, we're going to find out for you in a second, but however much time is left, you know New Mission's going to be doing everything they can to try to create a turnover or foul Latin Academy to try to extend this game, because that's just the kind of team that New Mission is. They're not going to give up no matter how much time is left to go here in the 4th quarter. Dragons with that and 1 by Mason Lawson take the 2-point lead. There's 18 seconds left on the clock. So right now, Latin Academy's going to have to try to at least move the basketball around. New Mission's going to try to force a turnover here. So Latin Academy's got to take care of the basketball. They obviously don't have to take a shot, but they have to, 1, get it over half court, and then 2, move the basketball around. New Mission will be in a full court press as there you see Morgan guarding the inbounds pass. They get it into Aiden. Aiden now trapped in the corner, throws it off of Juan Salas. That goes back to New Mission. Abdullahi Aiden was stepping out of bounds on that play. So the ball now goes back to New Mission after the Latin Academy turnover. You knew New Mission wasn't going to give up without a fight. Now with about, I'd say probably 16 or 15 seconds left, New Mission going to hold for the final shot. Alan Paisley now with it. Salas going to try to run something here. Now it's Alan Paisley. Fires it up from Peterson, and he's unable to knock it down. And the Latin Academy Dragons, for the first time since 1993, have won the Boston City Championship. They got there last year and were unable to get by defending city champion Tech Boston. This year in the shortened pandemic season, the Dragons, undefeated all the way through, were able to hang on and beat a very good New Mission team, 46-44. Latin Academy, your 2021 boys Boston City champions. Heck of a game tonight at Latin Academy High School. Boy, New Mission really put up an excellent fight tonight. New Mission all over the offensive glass, created a lot of turnovers. You know, it wasn't easy for Latin Academy tonight. Normally they shoot better than that. They don't commit that many turnovers. They're in their home gym, so you'd think that they would score a few more points as they're used to scoring. They're used to scoring easily in the 60s. But New Mission's always a good defensive team, especially under Malcolm Smith. They made things really difficult for these Latin Academy Dragons. The Dragons didn't shoot the way they usually want to or the way they're usually able to, but they hung tough down the stretch and were able to beat the New Mission Titans 46-44. Mason Lawson with that basket and the foul at the end of the game for a three-point play to give them that two-point lead. Now we'll see if we can get a shot of the trophy presentation. It's not going to be the normal trophy presentation that we normally see, but the Dragons, it's got to be a great feeling for them winning the city championship for the first time in 28 years. Unbelievable. As I mentioned, Dan Bunker, a player at Latin Academy, didn't win it as a player back in the late 90s. Now wins it as a head coach at Latin Academy High School in Dorchester. You know, I think it obviously helps to have the city championship at your home gym. I think we all can agree upon that. But that's, you know, Latin Academy earned that throughout the season. But New Mission, to come into an opposing gym, which is essentially a away game for the city championship, and play the way that they did defensively, the way that they were able to create turnovers and create easy baskets for themselves and get on the offensive glass. You got to hand it to New Mission for the way that they played in this game as well. They brought the effort that New Mission, we're all used to seeing New Mission bring throughout the entire game, but it was Latin Academy who was able to prevail in this one. Latin Academy this year also, you know, they've had a lot of seniors who have grown up together in this system. Latin Academy has actually 7th and 8th grade also at their high school, and players like Muhammad Ali, Abdullahi Aiden, Tiano Santos, and Mason Lawson, they're all seniors, and they've all played together for at least, I believe, 5 years. Some of them started with Latin Academy as 7th and 8th graders and now are seniors. So it's got to be a good feeling for those guys to come away with the Boston City Championship here in 2021. See if we can get a shot of this picture of them with the trophy. Of course, whenever you do a picture with any high school athletics team, you got to like move them around the entire facility. Nobody ever stays in one place. Looks like we're going to try to get it now. There's Jerry Howland, the headmaster, as I mentioned before, trying to get a team picture of the 2021 city champion Latin Academy Dragons. I think Coach Bunker's going to bring the trophy over now for this Latin Academy team. But as I mentioned before, New Mission did a heck of a job tonight. They're going to be in it next year. So Latin Academy, the 2021 boys, Boston City champions. You see the city championship trophy. Great feeling for these guys. It's been a tough season, obviously, very unorthodox with everything that's going on. But all these players, coaches, school administrators, the athletic department, Avery Esdale, Billy Sittig, and everybody else involved has done a fantastic job, getting this season going and getting through this season. They've done a great job, and it all culminates today. You saw the Fenway Panthers girls basketball team win the 2021 city championship. Now it's the Latin Academy Dragons boys team taking home the 2021 city title. So fantastic job by this team. They finish off an undefeated season and cap it off with the 2021 boys Boston City championship. So heck of a job there by the Dragons to finish off their season with the boys Boston City championship. As I mentioned, great job by New Mission, who was able to come into a visiting gym, like I mentioned before, in a city championship game and put that kind of defensive effort is pretty impressive, the way that they were able to create turnovers and really make it their game. I thought for most of the game, that was how New Mission wanted to play. I mean, they sort of dictated the pace. They dictated the style of play that happened throughout the game, but it was Latin Academy who was able to make the plays down the stretch and come away with the win there on their home gym for the 2021 Boys Boston City Championship. So definitely a fun game here this afternoon. We got some final numbers for you here. As first, we'll start with New Mission. Hassan Jenkins, another big game for him. He had 16 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, 2 blocks, and a steal. Juan Salas, 8 points, 5 rebounds. He sort of got quiet there in the second half as far as scoring is concerned. Morgan, once again, all over the place. Morgan had 8 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Peterson with 8 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Alan Paisley with 2 points and a rebound. Emeka Koji with 2 points and 3 rebounds for New Mission. Meanwhile, on the other side, for Latin Academy, they spread it around a little bit more points-wise as Asasu Wolgarin with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and 4 blocks. He's just a junior. He will most likely be back with Latin Academy next season. Mason Lawson, the senior point guard, 13 points, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Abdullahi Aiden, only 6 points. He's usually one of their top scorers, especially from hitting shots from behind the arc, but different year, so things are a little bit off kilter. He had 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. Ben Shapiro, 4 points, a rebound, and a block. Benny Martinez, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Benny was all over the place today on both ends of the floor. And Tiano Santos with 5 points, 2 assists, and a steal for the Latin Academy Dragons. So fantastic season here in 2021. I know it looked a little bit different. I know there was a lot of protocols that everyone had to make sure were in place and that they had to follow. But the players, coaches, school administrators, athletics department, BPS, Boston Public Schools, operations, they all did a great job getting this season in. So thank you to all of them for doing the right thing and keeping everybody safe. It went off really well despite all the obstacles that all these teams and coaches had to face. I also want to thank our crew here at Boston City TV and BNN. We want to thank our cameraman, Shavarsh Morrissey. He's been the one bouncing around to all these different gyms for all these different games. Thank you so much, Shavarsh, for all the work you've done. Our director, Ethan Vara, has done a fantastic job. Desmond Lefebvre, our production assistant tonight, he's done a lot with the stats and the audio. Mia Briganti, who's our engineer tonight, she has done a great job with the 2 games that we had to cover today. Also, Shane Hesford has put in a lot of work here as an engineer. Dave Burton, Dennis Dutra also put in a lot of time with engineering and scheduling and those different types of things. And of course, we want to thank Glenn Williams, the general manager of BNN, and Mike Lynch, the director of Boston City TV, for helping us out get this season going. There's a lot of other people that have put in some work today that I wish I had a bigger list and I could name everybody, but everybody's done a phenomenal job. I want to thank Mayor Walsh, obviously. He allows us to do this here at Boston City TV as well. And certainly a lot's going on in the city right now, and it's great that we can bring these games to you here in the 2021 BPS basketball season. Folks, you want to watch these games again? First, you can follow us on social media. You can go to our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/GameOfTheWeekBoston. A lot of good stuff up on that site. We have the YouTube links to all the games we've covered this season, including the live links and some other information about what games we're going to be covering in the future. As everybody knows, a lot is up in the air right now, so you don't know the next time we're going to have a live production for you on Game of the Week, but we will let you know as soon as we can. So make sure you follow our Facebook page and our Twitter account. But Facebook, check that out. Make sure you like us and make sure you hit subscribe on our Facebook page. If you want to watch games from this season or previous seasons, go back a few years if you want. You can go to the city website. Go to www.boston.gov/cable. You go to that site. You scroll down the bottom of the page. It says Game of the Week. You click on that. It routes us to the city video library. You can search for games that you're looking for from this year or from years past. They should all be up there, at least over the next couple of weeks. We'll make sure we get this season's games up there as well. But that's a nice site to check out. And then finally, you can follow us on social media. Go to if you want to follow us on Twitter, go to @BostonCityTV. We put a lot of updates on that Twitter handle and on that site. We usually try to use the handles of the schools and the athletics departments as well to try to get everybody involved. So make sure you follow us at @BostonCityTV. And if you want to tweet at us, ask us questions, make some comments, let me know how I'm doing as a play-by-play announcer. If it's terrible, say I'm terrible. And just to make sure you tweet at us at @BostonCityTV with the hashtag BostonGOW. Thank you all again for all you've done during the 2021 Boston City League basketball season, everyone. We'll see you next time here in Game of the Week. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.